everyone, Tracy Potgieter here, SA Corporate Tax Partner for Regan van Rooy. In this week's newsletter, we are unpacking Pillar 2 and whether or not we think it's ever really going to come to fruition. Let's first unpack what is Pillar 2. Just as a reminder, Pillar 2 is part of the OECD's Base Erosion and Profit Shifting BEPS program, whereby multinationals with consolidated turnovers of greater than 250 million euros would be subject to a minimum tax of 15%. This was done in three different ways. The first being the income inclusion rule, where head offices could or impose a top-up tax on countries that are not paying the 15% minimum. If a country does not implement the income inclusion rule, the under-taxed profits rule comes into play. In order for a country such as South Africa or some of the poorer countries to not lose out on revenue, there's also the qualifying domestic minimum top-up tax, or QDMTT, where the jurisdiction where the company is not actually paying the 15% can levy and capture that tax. Sounds great in theory, so why are so many companies countries not coming on board? We've recently seen a lot of activity whereby countries who were on board initially are starting to pull back, are starting to limit the method that they impose. And most recently, we've seen Belgium actually taking this to the Constitutional Court, where they are arguing that the undertaxed profits rule is almost extraterritorial in a way and therefore unconstitutional. Depending on the outcome of this case, because it's actually gone to the EU courts, we could find a big shift in where Pillar 2 is going. So what does this mean for multinationals? What it could mean is for those jurisdictions that have implemented it, there could be an element of double tax. There's far more uncertainty on deferred taxes, safe harbors, etc. We could also find complex compliance because now companies have to, if their country has implemented it, they have to comply and fill in the forms. So what does this mean for South Africa? South Africa has enacted this into its domestic legislation. Domestic legislation does, however, cross-refer back to the OECD rules. Must remember, though, that South Africa opted out of the undertaxed profits rule. So whatever might be decided in the EU courts would not necessarily roll over to South Africa. So what does it mean for South Africa? Well, it could mean decrease in revenues. For those multinationals that are affected, SARS won't be collecting their piece of the pie potentially. If other countries are not implementing it, does South Africa want to be a leader in this field? It also is increased costs and increased compliance because as things stand, companies are already into this and they're going to have to fill in the globe tax returns. So depending on the legal and political pressures that South Africa may face with this, we'll also see whether South Africa pushes forward with this or adopts a wait-and-see attitude. What is Regan van Rooy's take? Well, we don't think that it's dead, but it certainly appears to be limping for now. What is great in concept may just need some refinement before it can be implemented. But we still think that we're going to see at least some form of Pillar 2 coming in future. Thank you.